Good morning, students. Today I am continuing the last topic, that is resolution passed in the meetings of the company, whether it is annual general meeting of the company or other general meetings of the company or extraordinary general meetings of the company. Resolution has to be passed to make it to effect for the purpose of a proper implementation of the resolution in the company, and it is to be with the consent of the members who are present at the meeting by having a vote to in the meeting for the purpose of passing of the resolutions. Uh, so members consent in that particular decisions in that business transaction to be discussed at the meetings of the company is very important. So we have already discussed about the ordinary resolution to be passed and a special resolution to be passed in the meetings of the company, and there are other types of resolution to be passed in the company meetings. That is, which we already discussed about the compromise arrangement uh, when we are in between majority and minority shareholders for taking a decision in respect of the passing a resolution in the meetings of the company. In that case, we can make a compromise arrangement for that particular decision, for that particular matter to be discussed in the meeting, as per section 230, subsection 6 of the Companies Act 2013. Then circulation resolution is very important. You have to circulate it among the members so that members have a knowledge of the what to be discussed at the meeting. So they are very much prepared before the meeting, how with the points to be discussed and with the suggestions and advice in that particular matter during the meeting. So they can do a deliberation discussions if they already make a preparation in advance for the meeting, because they already have the information circulated among the members by the company. So first you have to circulate a copy of resolution to be passed in the meeting among the members, so that the members have the information about the matter to be discussed in the meeting, so that they can prepare in advance accordingly uh, uh, what to be discussed in the meeting, and for what we are the objective behind holding or conducting the meetings of this meeting. So they already have information, so that they can prepare their points number 1, point number 2, point number 3 to be discussed for that particular transaction, business transaction to be discussed at the meeting. So you have to circulate a copy of resolution among the members or among the committee members, along with expected note stating the business to be discussed uh, in the meeting. So as per section 175 of the Companies Act 2013, no resolution shall be deemed to have duly passed by the board or by the committee of the board unless until there is a circulation in the form of a draft, along with the necessary documents to be attached with the resolution, copy of the resolution going to be passed, not passed, uh, with the to all the directors of the company or all the members of the company, so that they have a copy in advance the items to be discussed in the meeting. So unless until it cannot be passed, how can you you don't have information, so you are not very much aware what to be discussed in the meeting. So it is a duty of the company to inform their members of the company, directors of the company in advance in respect of the matters to be discussed in the meeting, along with the details required for the discussion. So a copy of detail also attached with the notice of the resolution uh, to be circulated among the members of the company by the company. So there are certain restrictions also in respect of circulation resolution. We're not less than one third of the total number of directors of the company for the time being requires that any resolution under circulation must be decided at a meeting. So chairperson shall put the resolution to be decided uh, at the meeting of the board. Means matter to be discussed first, that matter to be passed to be discussed in the meeting. Then we can discuss. Okay, otherwise we cannot discuss. First, that matter which we want to discuss, which we wish to discuss in the general meetings, that matter must be passed in the meetings of the company. Then we can discuss that matter in annual general meetings of the company, or any other general meetings of the company, or emergent meetings of the company with the shareholders. So we are not less than one third of the total number of directors. One third of means out of three directors, one director. That is not less than one third of total number of directors of the company for the time being required that any resolution under circulation must be decided at a meeting. Meaning is that this resolution is passed, that uh, uh, agenda, that business to be decided in the meeting in advance. Then we can circulate it among the members. This should be passed. Then we can circulate a notice or resolution along with the necessary papers to be to the members of the company, and the chairperson shall put that resolution to be decided at the meetings of the board. So first, that matter to be passed in the board meetings of the company. Then we can issue a notice of resolution along with the necessary documents required for the purpose, for the information purposes among the members of the company. Then that resolution can be put for the before the members of the company for the purpose of passing, either by giving vote, by showing of hands, or by voting by poll is there, ballot paper is there, e-voting is there. So whatever method of voting is which you used in the company meetings, you use for the purpose of passing of the resolution. Circulation is different, passing a resolution is different. First you have to circulate it, um, notify it among the members, then you can pass the minutes. Then minutes of meeting as per Companies Act 2013. Minutes of the meeting, that is a record what we have discussed in the meeting, that is proceedings of the meeting, deliberations of the meeting, what we have discussed, the argumentative things, everything to be noted down in the minutes of the meeting, added by the deputies of the company secretaries, they are noting down. Auditors of the company also prepare a report, make a note of the what happened during the meeting, time of the meeting. Minute has to be prepared. That is a very important documentary evidence to be submitted. A copy of minutes of meeting to the registrar of companies for record purposes. And company should also keep a copy of minutes of meetings. Also prepared a file of minutes of the meetings on regular basis. Whether after annual general meetings of the company, or extraordinary meetings of the company, other class meetings of the company, board meetings of the company, proper filing has to be maintained to record the minutes of the meeting. So each and every book page of minutes of the meeting must be initialized and signed by the members of the company who present in that particular meeting, and also attest with the common seal of the company to make a to make it a documentary evidence to be present in the court of law in the case of any dispute, any doubt among the members. They can present a copy in the court of law to take remedies against any from the court of law in the case of any dispute they have, any trouble they have. So company should keep a record of these meetings. So if appointment of any director, again reappointment of any director of the company, and that resolution is passed in a meeting, that it must be in writing, it must be in record, that you can see that this his or her appointment is valid appointment, and her reappointment is also valid because it is passed in the meetings of the company, and there's a record of it in the minutes of the meeting. So we can see that my appointment and his or her appointment is valid appointment, it is confirmed appointment. So no one can challenge you in the court of law if you have a record in writing signed by the members and have a common seal. So that make it a complete document which give a strong evidence, strong proof to present in the court of law. you can challenge in the court of law that my appointment is valid appointment because my appointment is passed in the annual general meeting of the company, board meetings of the company, and resolution to that effect is passed by voting in that particular meeting by the members of the company. Whatever methods we are following, that method should be mentioned in the minutes of the meeting, and you can challenge the court of law that your appointment and that person appointment is valid appointment as per the uh, as per the provisions of the Companies Act, and we have keep records of each and every meeting conducted in the company, and we have a copy of that, uh, whether it is a electronic copy or written copy. In paper also we have a record, so we can show to the court of law. If you are not maintaining proper records, how can you prove in the court of law? You have to pay the penalties of consequences of not non-preparation of the books of account, non-preparation of the minutes of the meetings, and not keeping records. You have to pay the consequences and penalties in the court of law, and you can't take remedies under the court of law at particular sections given to the person as per particular section. Remedies are available to the person in the court of law. If you are not a victim, you can avail the remedy in the court of law. So record keeping is very important. Is aspect of the company because company utilize public money in the form of shares of the company. So record has to be maintained in proper manner by the company and on regular basis, on annual basis or whatever basis which you have followed for the keeping of records of the company. That must be in proper manner, must be initialized, must be signed on all pages of the minutes of the meeting, and must be attested with the common seal of the company. So that make it a documentary evidence. So records of each meeting shall be dated. Date is very important. In which day to conduct a meeting, records the minutes of the meeting, and it must be signed by the chairman of the meeting within a period of 30 days, or in the event of death or inability of the chairman within that period, uh, by a director duly authorized by the board for the purpose. Meaning is that if chairman is not present due to some health conditions or inability to present of the chairman because he is not in the town or city, he is in he is in at abroad or other countries, not able to present, not able to sign personally. So he or she can authorize any person in the board, any director in the board for the purpose of signing the minutes of the meeting. So that person must be authorized by the board of the company to sign on behalf of the chairman of the company. If chairman is not present personally due to death or is not in a condition to personally present, his health is not allowed to present personally, so he can with the approval of the board can appoint a director to sign the minutes of the meeting within a period of 30 days. So, in no case the minutes of the proceedings of a meeting shall be attached to any such book by pasting or otherwise. The minutes of each meeting shall contain a fair and correct summary of the proceedings. Meaning is that everything should be correct in a proper manner, in order manner. Number 1 point, number 2 point to be discussed, number 3rd point to be discussed, any other matter in the meeting to be discussed. All the points in a proper and orderly manner, so that we can have a clear understanding of what for what purpose this meeting is to be conducted, and what we are discussing in the meeting, and what we arrived at the meeting. So that should be in proper manner. Recording should be in proper manner, should be in orderly manner, so that we can have proper records and proper summary of what we have discussed in the meetings of the company. So in no case minutes of the proceedings of meeting shall be attached to any such book by pasting. You can paste that minutes or otherwise. So the minutes of each meeting shall contain a fair. It should be fair. Whatever we are mentioning, that should be fair. Should be true in this sense. There should be not be any fake information, wrong information, unfair information, incorrect information, or omitted information. You can say wrong information should not be a part of the proceedings of the company. So whatever we are discussing the true, what we are facing, what we need, what we require for the betterment of the company, for the future prospects of the company, for the profit maximization of the company. So what we have decided, we have to mention in that particular proceedings of the company. Not it should be contained clear what we are discussing, not in a uh, uh, quoting manner. We are quoting something and using some uh, wrong means to present ourselves in a better way. If we are incurring losses, we have to specify in our meetings that we are incurring losses in this particular year. If it is an annual meeting of the company and we're discussing the financial statement of the company, if we are incurring losses, if we are having losses in the last 1 year, and we are showing that we are in good condition, we are in in very sound financial condition, but in real sense we are not in a sound condition. If we are not presenting our true self, how can we get the exact correct picture about the correct financial health of the company? So better is to provide true and fair view of the company financial positions or company conditions in the meetings of the company. Minutes should not be overly quoted with your good words and all. So it should be clearly specifying what we are facing or what problems we have in the company, then new plans for the coming future. Again, because we have to controlling element is there. So again, we have to measure your performance with the actual standards and taking the finding out the deviations and taking some corrective measures to to overcome that deviations and to again reset a new plan with new hopes and excitement uh, for the coming years. That should be these points to be mentioned in the minutes of the meeting. But meaning is that whatever you are discussing, you should mention in a clear manner, in an exact manner, without any overquoting and quotings of items to be discussed in the meeting and conclusion of the meeting. Uh, very uh, which is not acceptable. The things which are not acceptable should not be mentioned in the minutes of the meeting. Then point number third is recording of the minutes should be begun with the name. Name of the meeting is, if it is EGM, so name is extraordinary general meeting. If the name is AGM, then it is annual general meeting. If name is board meeting, so it is board meeting of the company. So if it is a class meeting, a particular class of shareholders, parity shareholder, so it is written as class meeting. When record of the minutes of the meeting should be begin with the name, date, and time, place of the meeting. So date of the meeting is very important. In which date we are conducting the meeting. Time of the meeting 10 o'clock to 11 o'clock, 11 to 12 o'clock. And place of the meeting, it is whether it is New Delhi or Rajasthan or Haryana. So you have to write a place of the meeting. We are conducting the meetings of the company at the registered office of the company. So place should be mentioned in the meetings of the company. And the person who had attended the meeting in their respective capacity as members, directors and auditors of the company. The time and place of the meeting and the persons who attended the meeting in their respective capacity as member of the company or as directors of the company, as auditors of the company, as legal advisors of the company, solicitors of the company. In whatever capacity you are attending the meeting of the company, that should be mentioned in the records of the meeting. Say following members are present in the meeting, like this person is a member of the company, this person is the director of the company, this person is the auditor of the company. In that manner, you have to write the name of the persons who are present in the meeting and who are absent from the meeting. So record should be properly maintained, those who are present and those who are absent from the meeting, because we have to quorum is very important in the meeting. So for that quorum, the minimum number of members to be present in person. Otherwise, meeting is postponed if quorum is not present as required per the law. As per the law, a minimum 2 is required in the case of private limited company, and 5 is required in case of public limited company. So quorum is very important. Otherwise, meeting stands cancelled or postponed because of non-presence of the quorum that is required for holding the or conducting the meetings of the company. So attendance is very important in the meeting. That shows that following members are present, and following members they are absent from this meeting. So their consent and dissent is not available in that meeting because they are absent. So we have only consent and dissent of these members we present. Others are absent, so we are not able to get their consent or dissent in writing or in verbal form. We don't have recordings of the proceedings of the meeting of these persons. So they are absent. So proper recording of the attendance in the meeting, those who are present or not present in the meeting. Then all appointment of officers made at any of the meetings shall be included in the minutes of the meeting. So all appointment of officers of the company, whether it is directors of the company, independent directors of the company, non-executive directors of the company, directors of the company, women directors in the company, nominee directors in the company, alternate directors in the company, or casual directors in the company, or team directors of the company, whatever capacity or appointment, the appointment of directors, they are the officers of the company, any meetings shall be included in the minutes of the meeting. So that is the agenda of the meeting that must be included. The appointments of officers made at any meetings shall be included in the minutes of the meeting. Means that this person is appointed as such and such person is appointed as the director of the company of this particular department, legal department of the company. So name is name of the person and the position which he or she holds in the company. That is decided in the meeting of the company, that point to be mentioned in the minutes of the meetings of the company. So appointments of all officers of the company, all officers means whether it is licensed officer of the company, or company secretaries, or chartered accountants in the company, or any other medical officers of the company. All officers of the company decided, the appointment is decided in meetings of the company, and the name and the department in which they appointed with the position which they hold in the company, that must be mentioned in the minutes of the meetings of the company. So minutes should not contain such matters which in the opinion of the chairman of the meeting could be regarded defamatory of any person. If your intention is to defame any person, that matter should not be contained in the minutes of the meeting. Suppose in the meeting some person try to defame another person in the meeting, so minutes should not contain that matter, which in the opinion of the chairman of the meeting could be reasonably regarded as defamatory of any person. That point should not be included in the only the appropriate points to be, which is of significant concern, which is of vital of interest to all the members of the company, those who are present, those who are not present. That matter to be included in the minutes of the meeting. If we are discussing some wrong things in the meeting, we are trying to hurt someone else in the meeting, we are trying to disregard someone else in the meeting, disrespect any person in the meeting, comment on any person in the meeting, give personal remarks on any person in the meeting, that point, as per the opinion of the chairman of the meeting, should not be a part of the minutes of the meeting. So this is these points can be excluded from at the time of preparation of the minutes of the meeting. Even if you recorded in your rough draft, you can exclude this point in the main draft, main minutes of the meetings. That if you are seeing that following persons, they are trying to defame another person, trying to disrespect and using some personal attacks on any other person, in that case you can that matter you can exclude that matter from the minutes of the meetings. If you are discussing any matter that is not a part of the meeting of the company, as per the notice of the company, and that is not also part of the other agenda to be discussed in the meeting, and it is immaterial matter of the meeting, that should not be a part of the minutes of the meeting. If it is irrelevant and immaterial, and that matter should be excluded from the minutes of the meeting. If it is irrelevant and immaterial to the proceedings of the company, and that matter should be excluded from the minutes of the meeting. If you are discussing any irrelevant material, an irrelevant topic in the meeting, which is not a part of a meeting, which is not notified by the company to be discussed in a meeting under other items head, then if you are discussing that thing and we are recording that things in the rough draft of minutes of the meeting, in that case we can exclude that item at the time of preparation of the main minutes of the meetings. And if it is detrimental to the interest of the company, we can excluding that part from excluding that part from the minutes of the meeting. If it is detrimental for the interest of the company, not to include such matter in the betterment of the company, then in that case it is better not to disclose that because minutes of meeting reads by everyone, whether that person is a member of the company or not. After payment of nominal fees of the company to the ROC of the company, any person can can inspect the books of accounts or minutes of the meetings of the company. So if it is we don't want to disclose any matter which is detrimental to the interest of the company, in that case it is better not to disclose that matter in the minutes of the meeting. Then minutes of meeting, the chairman has an absolute discretion in regard to the inclusion or non-inclusion of any matter in the minutes on the grounds of specified above. So chairman has a right, as per his or her discretion, he has a right to include or not include any matter which we discussed in the meeting in the minutes of the meeting on the grounds specified above, which we already discussed. If it is detrimental to the interest of the company, then chairman can exercise this power not to disclose this discussion which we discussed or deliberated in the meeting in the minutes of the meeting. We can exclude this item. So any other irrelevant matters, any other unconcerned areas which we discuss in the meeting, that is not required to be discussed, but we discuss. That is not matter of matter of the meeting. That is not a part of the meeting, but we are discussing. Because we want to discuss, so we are discussing. We are taking our very precious time and we are discussing the irrelevant matters in the meeting. So we excluding this point from the minutes of the meeting. So chairman can have a power to exclude as per his or her discretion the following items from the minutes of the meeting. Then there's a penalty provision is there. Penalty provisions of non-following of the preparation of the minutes of meetings. If the default is made in complying with the provisions as per the Companies Act 2013, or in respect of any meeting. Any meeting means whether it is AGM of the company, EGM of the company, a class meeting of the company, first meeting with the directors of the company, statutory meetings of the company, or any other meeting of the company. If it is not following the provisions as per the Companies Act, any person who is in default, any director of the company, any officer of the company who is in default of non-following of the provisions in respect of holding, conducting meetings, in respect of preparation of minutes of the meetings, and that in case this person shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 25,000, and every officer of the company, because the liability first imposed on the company, but company is an artificial person, then it is ultimately paid by its directors of the company or members of the company up to the extent of the liability as mentioned in the articles or association of the company. Because of the limitations of the liability of the members of the company, it is extent is there. So the company shall be liable to a penalty of rupees 25,000, and every officer of the company who is in default shall be punishable with fine which may extend to rupees 5,000. So as per the discretion of the chairman of the company, chairman can easily include or exclude any point, and if any person who is in default, there is a penalty imposed on the company and every officer of the company who is in default, because company is different, company has a separate legal entity concept, so liability is also imposed on the company first, and then and every officer of the company which is in default, shall be punishable with fine, which may further extend to rupees 5,000. Then come to the minutes of meetings kept in accordance with the provisions of the Companies Act, Section 118, shall be the evidence of the proceedings recorded therein, including or excluding the point that is as per the discretion of the chairman of the meeting. But minutes of the meeting has to be kept as per the Section 118 of the Companies Act. And they shall also be proof of this fact that unless it is contrary proved, all the appointments of directors or liquidators of the company at such meeting shall be deemed to be valid. So appointment of directors of the company, appointments of members of the company, any other important officers of the company, company secretary, chartered accountants of the company, liquidators of the company shall be discussed at the transaction to be discussed at the meetings of the company that make their appointment valid, otherwise it is valid. So their appointment must be approved, must be passed in the meeting to make it to effect. So that appointment can be present in the court of law. You can challenge the court of law if your name is mentioned in the minutes of the meeting that my appointment is a valid appointment and my appointment is passed by the members of the company in the meetings of the company, annual general meetings of the company, or any other general meetings of the company, class meeting of the company. That person appointment is passed in the meetings of the company. So that makes your appointment a valid appointment to be present in the court of law in the case of any dispute, any controversies and all. So you can present your matter in the court of law. So all the appointments must be discussed and passed in the meeting. Appointment, reappointment, it is passed, not passed, that is to be recorded also in the minutes of the meeting. Suppose the appointment is not passed in the meeting, that should also be recorded in the minutes of the meeting. That this person appointment is not accepted, not passed, again for the reappointment purpose it is not passed. So that is also mentioned in the minutes of the meeting as per the record purposes. So all the appointments discussed in the meetings of the company. So all the appointments of directors or liquidators of the company at such meeting shall be deemed to be valid. So because it is a valid meeting, why it is a valid meeting? Because proper notice has been issued by the company at least 21 days before the meeting. That 21 days should not include the should be working day, not should be excluding public holidays and all. The days of public holiday, constituted holidays, excluding Sundays and constituted holiday. But that is still clear 21 days notice during the business hours of the company. So that proper notice is issued to the members of the company. So that makes a meeting a valid meeting because it is already notified to the members of the company that we are going to conduct meeting on this and this date at this time to discuss this particular agenda, and calling members are invited to attend the meetings of the company, are requested to attend the meeting of the company to discuss the deliberations in the meeting and to pass the specific resolution in the meeting, to discuss the particular agenda item in the meeting. So we are requesting all the members to be present in person, either in person or in proxy. That is also mentioned in the notice of the meeting. So proxy must be allowed to mention in the notice of the meeting. Then only proxy is be allowed to sit and take part in the deliberations of the meeting. So minutes of the meeting containing proceedings of general meeting shall be kept open for inspection for at least 2 hours at the registered office of the company. Because it is a public document, minutes of meeting is a public document, can be open for inspection and investigation by the general public on for at least 2 hours. It is kept open for inspection purposes at the ROC registered office of the company, or you can say head office of the company. So you can inspect the minutes of the meeting, maybe by payment of nominal fees, or maybe it is free to inspect. You can inspect this important document of the company for your aware purpose, for information purposes. You can inspect this document. So minute books contain the proceedings of general meetings of the company. So any person on request can request the person concerned for the purpose of inspection or investigation of the minutes, and it is open for 2 hours. At least 2 hour it is open for inspection at the head office or registered office of the company. But cost is imposed on the company. Cost is beared by the company for preparation of these books of accounts and minutes of the meetings of the company. So every member have a right, shall be entitled to inspect the minutes of the meeting and free of cost. It is for the member, it is free of cost, but you can charge some nominal fee for others who wish to uh, investigate or verify the minutes of the meetings during normal business hours, office hours, you can say. Then he is also entitled to be furnished within 7 days after he has made a request on that behalf of the company with a copy of any minutes on payment of a prescribed fee. So meaning is that a member of the company can request for a copy of the minutes on payment of the prescribed fee, as it is mentioned. Maybe it is 100, 200, whatever fees they have decided for the inspection of the books, minutes of the meeting. That amount to be paid by the person concerned to the company. A meeting can be adjourned if the quorum is not present to the next week, same time, same place to discuss the same agenda. Because if quorum is not present or in the absence of quorum, meeting shall be adjourned unless otherwise provided in the articles of the company. The same day, same time next week and same place to discuss the same agenda, and that day is public holiday. In that case, it shall be held on the next succeeding day, which is not a public holiday. So the day of the meeting should not be a public holiday. If it is public holiday, then again we are succeeding day, which is not a public holiday. Suppose Monday declared as a public holiday, so we conduct meeting on Tuesday. So day should not be a public holiday for the meeting. And if meeting is adjourned because of less number of person present in the meeting, which is required to be present as per the quorum required in the meeting, in that case meeting stands adjourned. An adjourned meeting held on the same day, same time and same place next week. That is a condition for the adjourned meeting. But that day should not be a that is a note in that day should not be a public holiday. And if it is declared a public holiday, then the immediate next day, which is not a public holiday, that day to be used, we can use for conducting the meetings of the company. So this is a condition for the adjourned meeting. If meeting is adjourned, postponed because of the non-presence of the quorum in the meeting. Then as per section 103, subsection 2 provides that if the quorum is not present in general meetings within half an hour, the meeting stand adjourned next week at the same time and to such other date at the time as the board may determine. Meaning is that as per this section of the company, section 103 subsection 2 of the companies at 2013, if the quorum is not present in general meetings of the company within half an hour, we wait half an hour. Suppose meeting time is 10 o'clock, so we can wait till 10:30. If till 10:30 member is not present as required to conduct the meeting, the quorum is not present in the meeting, in that meeting shall stand adjourned. That is a condition. We have to wait till half an hour for the members to come to join the meeting, to present in the meeting. And after waiting for half an hour, member is still not present, quorum is still not present. In that case, we can adjourn the meeting to the next week, same time, same place, as the board decide for that particular meeting to be conducted. But it should be adjourned to the next week, same time or same date or time as the board may decide to conduct or to hold that particular meeting if quorum is not present in the meeting. And this section provides powers to BOD, powers to the board for adjourning the general meetings due to lack of quorum in meeting. So this section provides you a power. This section provides you a rights to the board of directors of the company or to the company board, that if the member is not present within half an hour of the meeting, then we can start postpone our meeting to the next week, same time, same place, or as the board decide for the time and place of the meeting. Meaning is that as per the discretion of the board, but we can postpone, we can adjourn our meeting if quorum is not present as required by the Companies Act. At least 5% must be present in a public limited company, or 2% must be present in private limited company. If member is not present, if member is less than 1 or 0, or member is, in case of public company, member is only 2 members are present, not 5. So we have less 3 members that is required for the quorum. In that case, meeting stands postponed, or we can cancel also. But here we are discussing about the adjourned meeting. So meetings stands adjourned, or can say postponed on this particular ground. Next point in this, if the vacancy caused by the retirement of a director by rotation is not filled at the general meeting, the meeting shall be deemed to be adjourned to the next week. So if the vacancy caused by the retirement of a director by rotation is not filled up at the same general meeting, so we can postpone the meeting on this ground. This is a ground of the, you can say, postponement or adjournment of the meeting. So meeting stands adjourned because of the vacancy created due to retirement of a director by rotation in the company. And if at the adjourned meeting also vacancies are not filled up, retiring director shall be deemed to have been reappointed automatically, except in the following cases. Because if at the adjourned meeting also these vacancies are not filled up, so we requesting our retiring director to reappoint automatically, except in the following cases. As per section 152 subsection 7, point number is, a resolution for this reappointment was put before the meeting but was lost. In that case, following person cannot be reappointed after his or her retirement from the company as a director of the company. So in that case, following person can be not be appointed because of on this ground, because his or her resolution for reappointment was lost. So in that case, it is not passed in the meeting, although it is put before the meeting for discussion, but his reappointment is not passed, was lost. In that case, the retiring director cannot be reappointed by the company on this ground if it is not passed in the adjourned meeting also. So, but we can appoint a retiring director on certain circumstances. We can again requesting the directors to reappoint, except the following conditions. And when a person has declined reappointment in writing, that I wish not to continue anymore as director of the company, in writing, in that case you are not reappointing by the company, because already give you a dissent of not continuing anymore as a director of the company. In that case, your appointment is you already decline your appointment in writing, you already give your dissent in writing, so you already have been clearly explained that you are not interested to continue anymore with the company. In that case, you cannot be reappointed as a director of the company after your retirement. You already declare yourself that you are not interested to join anymore with the company. In that case, you you decline your reappointment in writing. When he has been disqualified, that is also ground of your not to be appointed again as a director of the company after your appointment. If you already declared disqualified to be a director of the company on the grounds as specified in the Companies Act under the head disqualification, the provisions of the disqualification of directors of the company. So you already have a disqualified to be a director of the company. In that case, your appointment has been is again, you can't be reappointed by the company as a director of the company on the grounds of being disqualified as a director of the company. So next point number D is a resolution, whether special resolution by nature or ordinary resolution by nature, is required for his appointment and reappointment in virtue of any provisions of the Act as per section 162 is applicable to such case. So a resolution to any effect, whether a special resolution has been passed and ordinary resolution has been passed, which is required for the appointment or reappointment in virtue of any provisions of this Act, in that case you are not automatically appointed, because resolution has been passed in the meetings of the company to give you effect of your reappointment as a director of the company after your retiring after retirement as director of the company. So your reappointment is to be passed in the company meetings either by ordinary resolution or by special resolution. Otherwise, your appointment will not take into effect because it is not passed in the general meetings, in the meetings of the company as per the provisions of the Act. Thank you.